Hello and welcome to this podcast. George Danikian, along with
Lauren Tanikian.
its father and daughter. And you know what? We have a very, very challenging confession to make. TV is all we've got.
Quite literally, not only during times of COVID, but through majority of our lives.
Explain yourself. Go on.
Well, okay, so you and I have lived apart for a very long period of time.
Yes, we
and
have. Yes.
When we have gotten together, we've found that the thing that's bonded us the most has in fact been our time spent in front of the screen, whether it's TV
or the big screen.
Yeah. Or the big screen. Yeah. That's just been our
the silver screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So literally, TV, it's all we've got.
Hence why we have a virtual theatre watching us do this podcast. I think it's only appropriate, don't you think?
Absolutely.
And
I mean, how else are we going to get the word out to the masses?
Exactly. And how did this all begin?
How did this begin?
This virtual podcast.
Well,
get off the ground.
This virtual podcast. So you and I have been strengthening our bond. Shall I say that? And
yes.
The last time I was in Melbourne, before Sydney went into a crazy lockdown again, you and I spent some time talking about some of our favorite things.
Right.
And it occurred to me that we almost did a podcast.
Getting to know
but we
almost about you.
Essentially created a podcast without even realizing it.
Correct.
And in my downtime, I thought to myself, we should just do this, give it a whirl, get to know each other, and let everybody else have a listen in.
That's right. And you took it to a new level because first up, you threw out a massive challenge.
I did. Yes.
What was it?
I asked you to watch a TV show that has music in it.
It wasn't just that. I think what took me by surprise, and then I had to get my head around it because I hadn't heard of it, was the name of the series, which appears on Apple Plus. It's called
Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon.
Schmig, 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 schmig.
So your challenge was, Dad, will you watch this and we can compare notes when you finish? And I went, only if you watch one of my shows.
Which I did.
And I picked
Ted Lasso.
And you thought, oh, God.
Literally, that's what I thought. It's like something with sport again.
Now, isn't it lovely, though, that you can finally make an admission that I did okay?
Dad, I think there's been a numerous amounts of times where I've admitted to you that I've been wrong. It's not something that I'd like the public to really know, but hey.
But I did okay, did I?
Yes, in truth and honesty and in the sharing that we're doing right now, yes, Ted Lasso is a great show, and I'm glad you made me watch it.
And can I just bounce straight back, handball this to you and say, well done, you, because Schmigadoon was not what I imagined. And I actually stayed for the entire 6 episodes, which make up the first series on Apple Plus.
That's great.
And I can say to you now, out of 10, I would give it a solid 8.5, 9.
Hey, that's great.
I'm
actually really super impressed by that.
Cecily Strong, who's the lead actress, is also the executive producer. And if you look at her, you think to yourself, she's not a great singer. She's not a great dancer. In fact, one of the dance routines that she does with Josh, played by
Keegan-Michael Key,
it's sort of really awkward. And yet it fits beautifully in this production, doesn't it?
It's endearing and it lends itself to the story as well.
It does. It makes me think that this is another one of those fabulous opportunities where something's come up and someone had the courage of their convictions and wanted to go with it. And I think this is Cecily. She was given an opportunity
absolutely.
and she's gone, look, I think I've got this product, I've got this platform, and we can make it work. And you would think a series based on paying homage to the great musicals of the 40s and 50s in Hollywood's golden era in 2021 wouldn't sit very well. And yet,
no,
my God, it is a surprise. And if you stay the course, you get rewarded. And that's why I'm giving it the high marks that I have. And I've got to say the two leads do their little bit. As you say, there's a character development. You've got to get into it and understand. They cleverly go backwards and forwards. We're not going to talk too much about the journey, because the whole point is we want everyone to join us and check in on Schmigadoon and see it for themselves. But it really is, for me, a complete surprise, from the name right through to the final song. And that's the other thing that you have got to give yourself a bit of time to take in, is the very clever lyrics, very clever lyrics. And some of the songs were picked apart. I went back and had a look at them. They were beautifully old songs that they've rejigged to make them work, and they are so clever. And the cast is great.
I mean, you really can't go wrong with Kristen Chenoweth, Fred Armisen, Alan Cumming, just to name a few.
Can I make another confession? Kristen Chenoweth. Kristen Chenoweth.
How did I know this was happening?
Is one of these characters, one of these actresses or actors who charms you, who wows you, who makes you feel. She's tremendous. And again, she plays a villainous sort of character. We won't go into any more. But from the time I first saw her, I thought she was something. I remember seeing her on one of my favorite shows,
West Wing.
West Wing, when she had this, fabulous storyline and dialogue written by Aaron Sorkin, and it fitted her to a T. And she delivered a great performance and played a great role. So I've been a Kristen Chenoweth fan for ages. And of course, because we don't live in America, you don't get to see her other career, which is musical theatre.
Yeah.
So this fits beautifully. So a great cast.
I was going to say, I was introduced to her through Wicked, which,
of course, yes,
so the Broadway recording of that, which I have on repeat, and so I've been a huge fan of hers for very many years. Now, anything that she's in is just delightful.
We should add that you're a huge music fan and a musical fan.
Yes.
In fact, one of your other movies that you also have on repeat stars a very good friend of ours, Hugh Jackman. And it's called
The Greatest Showman.
The Greatest Showman. So you've been,
it is in fact one of the greatest shows.
This all goes back to your early days, doesn't it? Your days in Brent Street.
Yes, singing and dancing.
How old were you? 6, 7, 8?
Well, when I started, really, I was 2, and then I danced. I danced up until I was 16, I think. And then I realized that I could work on the weekends and make money and buy things for myself. So I gave up on that dream, but still love to get a bit of a boogie on.
I know. They morph and becomes, what they do? They morph and become another journey.
And they come back into your life in really unexpected ways. I never thought that I would be singing again at 35, but here we are doing improv. And then I've moved into musical improv, where I'm singing and making up songs on the spot. And I honestly never thought that would happen. I never thought I'd sing in front of people again, but here we are.
You're also doing a little bit of stand-up comedy.
I am attempting.
Which terrifies me.
Oh, it terrifies me too.
So what do you do? Do you let the emotions sort of fill you like a shock, and then you sort of try and talk your way out of it?
Quite literally. I mean, I have something written and I get up there and immediately my mind goes blank.
Blank. And then you
And
just
so all I can really do is feed off the audience and see if anything I have to say resonates with them. And if it does, I keep going with it. If not, change tack and see what happens.
right. Short shift. Let's go.
Short
Now,
shift.
now,
Short in a lot of ways.
well, the thing we talked about was a musical on Apple Plus called Schmigadoon. It's a short series,
Yes.
but it's
Yeah.
rich.
Only 6 episodes.
Clever. Yeah, it's rich and it's clever and thoroughly recommended. Now, I didn't task
Absolutely.
you too much either with
No.
my offer or my dare for you to see or watch the first season of Ted Lasso. Now, will you see season 2?
Yes, so I'm up to date. It's the season
Oh.
2 now, up to episode 5. So I'm up to date. I've watched them all. Looking forward to Friday's next episode. So
what do you
yeah,
make of it?
I'm super
Talk
excited.
to me about it. Talk to me about it.
You know, I was hesitant because, like I said before, I genuinely thought it was just about football. And I was so pleased to realize that it is about so much more than football. It is about being put in a situation where you really don't fit in. And because of these differences, enabling yourself and everyone else around you to feel comfortable enough to be fully who they are. And I never thought I'd get that from a show that focuses on football, but here we are. And it really is about these characters that need each other in this time for reasons that I won't discuss because that might spoil something for someone.
Sure,
I don't want to do that.
We don't want to make it a spoiler show. What we want to do is encourage you to watch. And the reason we want you to watch it is because not only is it loaded with some misfits that are quite something else, because you and I have discussed this in the past. Great shows, great theatre, great musicals are quite often made even more magical when the cast, the ensemble that's brought together, understands and plays the game and everyone sort of gets in on the same page. And that's the thing you learn about Ted Lasso. All those misfits have a particular role to play.
Absolutely. And they're open to accepting these people into their lives as much as they don't want to be. Correct. Some of them are very closed, but you know, you give someone a little peek and then they're all in. And I think that's really beautiful. We see a lot of growth in these characters. I mean, like we said, there's only been a season and a half, really. So the first season is 10 episodes. And just the growth from the first episode to even the fifth or sixth, you're already seeing so much growth in these characters. And that's incredible. I mean, these episodes are only 30 minutes, 40 minutes at most. And the amount of clever writing and heart has gone into these characters is just really beautiful to see.
Jason Sudeikis plays Ted Lasso, a guy that you and I like, who plays Roy Kent, the actor
Brett Goldstein.
Is even more magical because he's not really an actor. He has acted, but it's not his strong suit. He's a writer and a very clever one, you realise. But he had this epiphany, and he thought, you know what? I think I can play this character that we've written called Roy Kent. We won't say any more about Roy Kent.
No.
But I can reveal that Roy Kent and Lauren, my daughter, are an item. She's fallen for him. He doesn't know it yet, but you've fallen for him, haven't you?
Apparently, men don't need to say much to me. They just need to grunt, and I'm all in. It's quite uncomfortable, really.
But he does create a character, or has created a character, and it's charming people all around the world, and it shouldn't, but it does.
It does.
But
and do you know what? I think it's a testament to the writing.
No, you're absolutely right. It's the ensemble cast who are beautifully fit together. It's tremendous writing. And as you say, to get that development arc in such a short time across to the audience, when you've got a half-hour show, you think, well, what else was in it? Well, there was an awful lot in it. and it's done
So
very,
much.
very cleverly. What did you make of one of our favourite stars, someone we've known in another series that was world famous? I'm talking about Game of Thrones. There was
Yes.
an actress who had a small role in Game of Thrones, and when you see her pop up on Ted Lasso, you look once, you look twice, you look a third time, and you go, "There's so much you didn't show us in Game of Thrones. You are fantastic." And the reason, of course, we didn't know too much about it, because one, she plays a high priestess, she's covered up, and in Ted Lasso, she's the owner of a football
Complete
team,
opposite.
and she's very vulnerable,
Mm.
and she also gives us an insight into what a highly talented did I say musical star she
You
is,
did.
because when she's not acting, she's in musical theatre in Britain, and she's made quite a career of it. So there you go.
She's impressive. I mean, I remember when I first tuned in and I started watching, and I said, why does her face look so familiar to me? And then I
Oh,
realized in Game of
you
Thrones,
didn't
that's all
get
you
it.
could see was just her face.
Shame,
And
shame,
so,
shame
yeah, shame,
on
shame.
you.
Yes. And so, you do the obvious thing. You Google all the cast to see what else they've been in. And I was gobsmacked. I just went, wow, this woman is incredibly talented.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
probably, I really don't want to spoil it for anybody,
No,
but if
don't.
anybody knows me, I'm obsessed with Frozen. And there is a Frozen moment in Ted Lasso, which I think
Enough said.
definitely
Enough
tipped me
said.
over the edge. It's
Speaking of
just,
tipping you over the edge, what did you make of the other female lead, who is just
oh,
wonderful?
come on. Juno Temple. You can do no
Oh,
wrong with Juno Temple.
no. But,
She's incredible.
what a transition. Sorry, what a casting choice.
Mm.
I think I saw an interview only recently that Juno was on with Hannah Waddingham, and they were talking about what this first series was all about. They were talking about how they never imagined they would be in this worldwide success, because it has, captivated the whole world, especially in lockdown. And here we are again in Australia in lockdown. So this show just doesn't date. It's fantastic. If you get along to it, Ted Lasso. But what was remarkable, she said, I never imagined that I'd be asked to play Keely, after they saw me in this movie where I was playing a lesbian werewolf or something, and I'm thinking, what movie was that?
Not too dissimilar to PR, really.
Well, I was blown away. But it is, look, they all play a fantastic role. From all the key players, whether it's Coach Baird, whether it's Nate, whether it's any number, even the young 7-year-old niece of Roy Kent is a
she's
starlet.
adorable.
Yeah, she is a starlet.
She is.
Yep.
She
So
is.
there you go. How would you rate out of 10 Ted Lasso?
Oh, I rate Ted Lasso very highly. I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
There you go.
Yeah.
So for two people who started this podcast with a dare, and you said to me, Dad, will you watch Schmigadoon? And I said, yeah, okay. And I said, well, you've got to watch Ted Lasso. And you went, oh yeah, okay. What are we to say at the end of this? What does it tell you? Don't judge a book by that cover. Don't judge people by that first glance. Spend some time with them, get into it, and you'll learn so much info. Yeah?
Yeah. And now is the perfect time.
Absolutely.
For most of the states in Australia.
Yeah. And should we add before we finish, the thing that both these shows have is great humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Message in Ted Lasso is very strong, and the message in Schmigadoon is one of hope, is it not?
Yeah. And in times of maybe when you're not feeling so strong or you're not feeling so beautiful or great, there's still love, and there's a lot of love there, and people are willing to share that. So
And as
I think that's a
Cecily
really good
Strong
message too.
says very late in Schmigadoon, I
Mm.
was always wanting perfect.
Yeah. It's not about that.
No. As they say, it's not
the
about the destination,
messiness.
Lauren. It's
Yeah.
about the journey.
Yeah, it's about the grunts.
You and Roy Kent, you're in trouble.
Oh,
girl.
God.
So
We need to get a
our
TV
first,
show where there's no hot men in it.
that's our first podcast. It's called
I know.
TV. It's all we've got.
All we've got. Yeah.
Thank you for
So
joining
what's
us.
next?
I'm having a sneaking suspicion that we've got to do something more meaningful. I want you to watch a Korean love series.
You're joking.
No.
Really?
It stars one of the biggest surprises in Korean cinema.
Okay.
I'll learn to pronounce his name first, and then I'll throw out the dare. And what are
So
you
we
going to
might
get me
need
to
some more
watch?
time with that one.
Perhaps. And what are you going to get me to watch?
Well, okay, this is something that you and I have both spoken on. Another Apple TV show called Mr. Corman with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, while we get ready for me to practice my Korean, let me say to you, while you've got me doing Mr. Corman, I'll get you to watch Physical. Which stars
Rose Byrne.
another Australian actress who's done very well for herself overseas, Rose Byrne.
Yeah.
All right. Till the next episode. You've got some television watching to take on board. Mr. Corman for you.
That's all we've got.
And Physical. Okay?
Yeah. Sounds
Bye.
great. Bye, Dad.